On that freezing dawn, Rosa held the bent needle like a cross. At 11, she already knew her childhood had been buried in the back of a drawer. What she'd kept under her bed for 50 years changed everything we knew about sacrifice, about love, and about the secrets a child carries when they have to grow up too fast. You won't believe what we found when she died. There, hidden among rags and faith, was the broken heart of a girl who sewed dreams together from scraps. If you also carry memories that warm your heart, subscribe to the channel to discover stories that touch your soul and awaken memories you thought were lost. Press the bell, because what Rosa hid under that bed will make you rethink the meaning of the word sacrifice. Grab your cup of coffee, sit down comfortably, because together we'll uncover the mystery a little girl with small hands has kept hidden for decades. And prepare your heart, because this story has never been told before. Rosa woke up when the rooster was still thinking about crowing. 5 o'clock sharp, as if she had a clock in her soul. She lit the wood stove with twigs she'd gathered the day before. She poured water into the iron teapot. She made weak coffee for 15 hungry mouths. Have you ever had to be a mother without being a mother? Have you ever felt the weight of taking care of everyone when you were still a child yourself? At 11, Rosa knew every stain, every hole, every ripped seam on her 12 siblings' clothes. The pile of patches grew like weeds after a rain. A shirt with a hole in the elbow, pants ripped at the knee, a dress with a loose hem. It seemed the more she sewed, the more work she had to do. Rosa's needle was thin, long, and a little crooked. A gift from a distant aunt who, seeing the girl's struggle, gave her only treasure, kept in a medicine bottle, a sturdy sewing needle, made of steel, the kind that goes through denim like paper. "Take good care of her," said the aunt. "She can handle anything, but she has a soul." Rosa kept the needle as a sacred relic. She knew she could do more than mend with it. She could create. And she did. First, a dress for her younger sister, made from a stained sheet. Then, a shirt for her brother, who helped their father on the farm. The needle didn't rest. Just like Rosa. For weeks she sewed until the sun came up. No sewing machine, no pins, no ruler. Just her trained eye and the courage to invent. And when her hands ached, she whispered to herself, "It hurts me, not them." Sewing became more than a craft. It became a devotion. She embroidered her siblings' names on the cloths, sometimes hidden, sometimes on the back, just so they would have something special, a mark, a sign of care. Sewing was her way of praying, but always, after finishing her brother's clothes, Rosa would take the remaining scraps, the most delicate, the most colorful, and begin another task, a secret task, one that no one could see. He sewed with even more care, with smaller stitches, with perfect finishing, as if he were creating something sacred, something special. And when he finished, he folded it carefully. He wrapped it in bread paper and hid it under his bed. "What are you doing there, Rosa?" asked the younger sister, curious. "Just a seam," he replied, looking away. But these weren't simple points. It was something no one could have imagined. Something that would reveal the overly generous heart of a girl who grew up too soon. Have you ever kept something for years without telling anyone? Have you ever had a secret that felt like a heavy burden? Rosa had a secret that she carried like a thorn in her side. At 11, I already knew I'd never be a real child. I'd never have dolls. I'd never play house. I'd never wear pretty dresses like the other girls in the village. But Rosa had a hidden dream, a dream she nurtured in the lonely early mornings. While she sewed clothes for her brothers, she imagined a different day, a day when she would be just a girl in a pretty dress, with a bow in her hair, with shoes that squeaked on the floor. So she began saving the prettiest scraps, the little pieces of floral chintz left over from her sister's blouses, the scraps of lace she found on the church floor after parties, the tiny buttons that fell off her neighbor's clothes. With these little treasures, Rosa sewed doll clothes, delicate dresses, cloth shoes, little hats with ribbons. She didn't have a doll, but she sewed as if she did. Each piece was perfect, made with the same care she dedicated to her brother's clothes, but with something extra, with love for herself, with the affection she never received. Sometimes, when everyone was asleep, Rosa would grab the little clothes from under the bed. She would hug them to her chest. She would close her eyes. And for a few minutes, she was just an 11-year-old girl dreaming of playing. Then he'd fold it all back up, put it away, and he'd be the responsible Rose again, the Rose who took care of everyone, the Rose who could never be a child. The secret grew. Each month, Rosa hoarded more little clothes, party dresses, little aprons, even a little winter jacket made from the shredded wool of an old sweater. It was his private world, his stolen childhood stitched together in miniature. Have you ever had to hide your dreams to care for others? Have you ever felt like you lost pieces of yourself along the way? One day, his younger sister, Maria, discovered the package under the bed. She opened it with childlike curiosity. Her eyes filled with tears when she saw those perfect little clothes. Rosa arrived and found Maria holding a little blue dress. The girl's heart nearly stopped. "What do you do that for, Rosa?" Maria asked softly. Rosa knelt down. She took the little dress from her sister's hands. She stared at it for a long moment. And then, for the first time, she spoke the truth. "It's for the girl I wanted to be," she whispered. "The girl who has time to play. The girl who gets pretty dresses. The girl who I can never be." Maria hugged Rosa, and they cried together, one for her lost dream, the other for her sister, who grew up too fast. No one else knew this secret for decades. Rose continued sewing for her brothers. He continued to keep the doll clothes under his bed, as if preserving pieces of the childhood life had denied him. It was her way of not completely giving up on being a child. It was her way of resisting the adult world that swallowed her too soon. The years passed like dry leaves carried by the wind. Rosa grew up. Her siblings did too. Some got married. Others went to the city. The big house became small. Then it became empty. Have you ever seen a family spread across the world? Do you ever miss the time when everyone fit at one table? Rosa never married. He took care of his parents until the end. She worked as a seamstress in the village. She made wedding dresses, christening gowns, school uniforms. Her hands never stopped sewing. But always in the end, I'd return to my childhood bedroom. I'd open the drawer next to my bed, and there were the doll clothes, stored away for decades, untouched, perfect. Sometimes I'd pick one up. I'd remember the 11-year-old girl I'd been, the childhood she'd sacrificed for her brothers, the dream she'd kept in chintz scraps. It wasn't sadness, it was gratitude. Gratitude for having managed to preserve something pure, something innocent, something that not even the harshness of life could destroy. Rosa understood that God had given her a special gift, not just the gift of sewing, but the gift of caring, of sacrificing, of loving without expecting anything in return. And the little clothes under her bed were proof of that, proof that even denying herself the right to be a child, she never lost her tenderness, her delicacy, her ability to dream. When the brothers came to visit, they brought their grandchildren. Small children ran around the old house. Rosa watched with bright eyes. She saw in them the childhood she never had, and she smiled. Have you ever felt happy seeing others experience what you couldn't? Have you ever found peace in giving to others what life didn't give you? One day, the youngest granddaughter found the clothes in the drawer. Her eyes widened with delight. "Grandma Rosa, who are these pretty little clothes for?" Rose knelt beside the girl. She held one of the little clothes in her hands, and she answered in the sweet voice of someone who has found peace. They're for all the girls who once had to grow up too fast, to remind us that the child we were never completely dies. She stays here in our hearts, waiting for a chance to smile again. The granddaughter didn't fully understand, but she felt the love that emanated from those words, from those little clothes, from those hands that sewed so much love into life. Rosa gave the clothes to her granddaughter. Finally, after decades, they would be worn by a real child, by a girl who still had time to play, to dream, to be a child. And when she saw her granddaughter playing with her little clothes, Rosa felt the circle closing, that the sacrifice of her childhood had been worth it, that the love sewn stitch by stitch had found its destiny. "Grandma, did you also have a doll when you were little?" asked the granddaughter innocently. Rosa smiled. She ran her hand through the girl's hair and replied, "No, my daughter, but I had something better. I had 12 brothers to love, and I discovered that taking care of those we love is the most beautiful doll there is." The granddaughter didn't understand, but she kept those words like seeds in her heart, to understand when it was her turn to grow up. That night, Rosa looked out the window. She saw the stars shining in the dark sky, and she gave thanks. She gave thanks for the life she had, for the brothers she raised, for the chance to love without measure. Have you ever thought about what it would be like if you could go back in time and talk to the child you once were? What would you say to them? Rosa died at the age of 82 in her sleep. Her hands, which had sewn so much, finally rested. The room where she had spent her entire life was opened by her family to organize her belongings. It was then that we discovered the full truth about the secret under the bed. Have you ever found love letters written to ourselves? Have you ever discovered that someone you loved was hiding treasures you never imagined? Inside the drawer, along with the doll clothes, was an old notebook. The pages were yellowed and the handwriting was tiny. It was Rosa's secret diary. In the first pages, she had written at the age of 11, "Today I sewed a little blue dress for the girl I wanted to be. She would be happy. She would play all day. She would have a mother to comb her hair and a father to tell her stories before bed. She would have time to pick flowers, to run barefoot in the rain, to just be a child. Later, at age 15, I made little shoes today for the feet of the girl I never was. She would walk slowly, without rushing, without responsibility. She would step in puddles just because it feels good, not because she needs to fetch water for her brothers." And on the last page, written a few months before he died, "Today I understood. I didn't sew these clothes out of sadness. I sewed them out of love. Love for the child I was forced to leave behind. Love for the brothers I raised. Love for life that, even though difficult, taught me that loving is the only way to not lose yourself. May these little clothes remind everyone that childhood is not a passing time. It is a place in the heart that we can visit whenever we need to remember purity, innocence, the infinite capacity to love." Rosa's siblings cried as they read the diary. They finally understood the sacrifice of their sister who clothed them, who raised them, who gave up her own childhood so they could have dignity. Have you ever discovered that someone sacrificed themselves for you without you knowing? Have you ever felt the weight of gratitude for a love you didn't know about? Today, Rosa's doll clothes are displayed in a display case in the family home, so that future generations will remember the aunt who sewed with thread and faith, and who kept dreams in chintz scraps. Rosa's story teaches us that sacrifice isn't the same as loss. It's transforming love into action. It's sewing care stitch by stitch. It's leaving a legacy that no amount of time can undo. she discovered that a real doll isn't made of porcelain. It's made of moments, of gestures, of love sewn into the lives of those we love. Rosa never had a doll, but she raised 12 siblings with the affection a child has for their toys. She cared for each one as if they were the most precious treasure in the world. And when Rosa's grandchildren grew up, they understood the lesson that true love isn't the kind we keep to ourselves. It's the kind we give without hesitation, the kind we offer without expectation, the kind we weave into the lives of others like embroidery that never unravels. Do you have someone in your life who sacrificed for you? Someone who sewed love into your heart without realizing it? Rosa's doll clothes remain in the display case, not as sad reminders of a lost childhood, but as symbols of a life that knew how to transform sacrifice into love, pain into care, lost dreams into dreams realized in the lives of others. Because Rosa understood what few understand, that the happiest child isn't the one with all the toys. It's the one who learns to play at loving, at caring, at making their own heart the most beautiful toy there is. And every time a child in the family plays with Grandma Rosa's clothes, she whispers softly, "Thank you, Grandma, for sewing so much love into our lives." Because Rosa taught us that some treasures aren't made of gold. They're made of thread, of needles, of late nights spent sewing love for those we love. And love sewn with thread and faith never fades. It passes from generation to generation, like an inheritance more precious than any fortune. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment. Tell us if you've met someone who sacrificed their own dreams for others. Subscribe to the channel for more soul-warming stories. Have you ever had to grow up too fast? What secrets were buried in the foundations? Why did he choose that particular spot to build? And what did this reveal about his mysterious past? Come back here for the next story to find out. In the meantime, look back fondly on your past and listen to the stories it whispers. Because every story is a thread, every memory an embroidery in time. Until next time, my dears, may God bless you as He blessed Rosa.